After 70, every step you don't take adds up, and not in your favor. But walking isn't the only way to stay strong. These two simple shifts can rebuild what time tries to take. Stay until the very end, because the second one is what truly keeps your body and mind in motion. Walking's limit. We begin with an idea so familiar it has become almost invisible. The simple act of walking. It is prescribed by our physicians, celebrated by our society, and diligently tracked by the clever devices strapped to our wrists. We are encouraged, even conditioned, to achieve a certain number of steps each day, as if this arbitrary number holds a magical key to unlocking health and fending off the passage of time. And within this belief there is, of course, a partial truth. Movement is undeniably life. The human body is a marvel of engineering designed to move. So we walk. We walk in the crisp morning air. We walk after a meal to aid digestion. We walk to clear our minds of the day's clutter. It becomes a ritual, a habit, a duty. But here lies the first, most critical question we must dare to ask ourselves. What is the quality of this movement? Far too often, our walking is done on autopilot. The mind, the master conductor of our being, is not present with the body. While the legs move forward in a familiar mechanical rhythm, the mind is wandering through a labyrinth of its own making. It is lost in anxieties about the future or tangled in the bittersweet webs of the past. It is silently composing an email, replaying a conversation in search of a better retort, or meticulously planning the remainder of the day. The body is here, moving through space, but the mind is conspicuously elsewhere. There is a profound disconnection, a separation between our physical selves and our conscious awareness. The movement becomes hollow, a repetitive action devoid of presence or feeling. We are not truly walking. We are being taken for a walk by our own bodies, while our consciousness remains a distant, preoccupied passenger. Now, let us consider the physical implications of this disconnected state, compounded over time. Year after year, decade after decade, we place the same repetitive stress on our most crucial joints. The hips, the knees, the ankles. These loyal servants bear the brunt of our forward momentum. The pavement, our most common walking surface, is hard and unforgiving. With each and every step, a small but significant shock wave travels up the leg, vibrating through the entire skeletal structure. When we are young, our bodies are astonishingly resilient, cushioned with thick cartilage and ample fluid, and can absorb this daily impact with ease. But as we enter the later chapters of our lives, after 60, after 70, the biological reality changes. The cartilage, that precious cushion, naturally thins. The lubrication in our joints, the synovial fluid, lessens in volume and viscosity. What was once a benign and beneficial activity can subtly transform into a source of chronic, low-grade strain and inflammation. The very action we believe is preserving our mobility might be slowly, almost imperceptibly, contributing to its eventual decline. This is the inherent limitation of mindless volume, of a philosophy that blindly champions quantity over quality. We have been sold the simple equation that more is always better. 10,000 steps are presented as unequivocally superior to 5,000. But is this truly the case? Or is it a goal created by an external measure, a number on a screen, one that completely ignores the internal state of our being? The body is not a machine that can be endlessly driven without consequence. It is a garden, a delicate and complex ecosystem. A garden requires not only activity but also profound rest. It requires not only sun but also gentle rain. It requires not only doing but also simply being. A garden that is constantly tilled, trampled, and disturbed will not flourish. Its soil will become compacted and hard, unable to receive the very air and nourishment it needs to thrive. In precisely the same way, a body that is only subjected to repetitive, high-impact, mindless motion can become depleted, hardened, and ultimately exhausted. The true cost of this kind of walking extends beyond our joints and into our very life force. We expend a great deal of physical energy, but we do not consciously cultivate or replenish it. We are methodically draining the battery without ever plugging it into the charger. The movement, in its mechanical state, does not nourish our internal landscape. It merely serves a functional purpose of getting from point A to point B. It fails to teach us about our body's incredible subtleties, its hidden tensions, its areas of blockage and holding. It bypasses the precious opportunity for a deeper, more intimate conversation between the mind and the body. We can walk miles upon miles, day after day, and yet we may not be any closer to truly understanding or inhabiting the magnificent vessel that carries us through this life. The steps are counted and logged, but the richness and quality of the experience are utterly lost. Consider this for a moment. The next time you walk, try to notice. Do you actually feel the entire sole of your foot as it meets the ground? Can you sense the subtle, rolling transfer of weight from the heel through the arch to the ball of the foot and the toes? Do you feel the complex symphony of muscles in your legs as they engage and release with each stride? Can you sense the gentle spiraling rotation of your spine that accompanies the swing of your arms? For most of us, most of the time, the honest answer is no. The act has become so deeply familiar that it requires virtually no attention. It is precisely this pervasive lack of attention that constitutes the core of the problem. It is the mindlessness that we must begin to address. The path to true, lasting vitality is not found in adding more empty miles to our count, but in fundamentally transforming the nature of our movement itself. It is about making the courageous shift from quantity to quality. This is not a decree to stop walking entirely. Far from it. A gentle, mindful walk in nature, with your senses fully awake to the sights, sounds, and smells around you can be a profoundly beautiful and restorative practice. But the reliance on walking as the primary and often sole form of exercise for an aging body is a flawed and incomplete strategy. It addresses the cardiovascular system, which is important, yes, but it neglects the cultivation of deeper, more subtle forms of strength and energy. It neglects the health of the nervous system. It neglects the circulation of what ancient wisdom traditions call chi, or prana, the very life force that animates us. It neglects the profound power that can be found not in constant motion, but in its harmonious and essential opposite, stillness. The journey we are embarking upon is one of refinement, not resignation. As we age, we are not meant to simply do a lesser version of what we did when we were younger. We are invited to do things differently, with more wisdom, more awareness, and more profound intention. The challenge after 70 is not to wage a war against the natural changes in the body, but to adapt to them with grace, intelligence, and curiosity. It is to discover new, more sustainable ways to cultivate energy, to preserve the precious structure of our bodies, and to quiet the ceaseless chatter of the mind. The first step on this new path is to honestly recognize the limits of the old one, to see that our 10,000 steps may be taking us in a wide circle rather than leading us forward into a state of true, holistic, and integrated well-being. We must be brave enough to walk a little less, so that we may learn to move and to be more wisely. This is where our real work and our real potential begins. The exploration of a different kind of strength, one that does not exhaust, but instead deeply nourishes. Gentle flow. Now, having acknowledged the limitations of our old path, we are ready to explore the first of our two revolutionary practices. If we are to consciously reduce our reliance on repetitive, high-impact walking, what shall we replace it with? The answer lies in a form of movement that is, in many ways, the complete opposite of what most of us have come to consider exercise. It is slow, it is deliberate, it is profoundly soft. We can call it gentle flow. This is a practice not of exertion, but of deep and abiding nourishment. Its primary goal is not to burn calories or to build bulky external muscle, but to circulate vital energy, to lubricate the joints from within, and to integrate the mind and body into a single, harmonious, flowing whole. Imagine a beautiful mountain stream that has become blocked with fallen stones, branches, and dead leaves. The water, unable to flow freely, becomes stagnant, murky, and lifeless. Nothing can live or grow in such an environment. In many ways, our bodies can become just like this blocked stream. Through years of accumulated stress, old injuries, or simply the ingrained postural habits of a lifetime, our internal energy pathways can become blocked and congested. We feel this blockage as physical stiffness, as chronic tension in the neck and shoulders, as a persistent ache in the lower back, as a general sense of being stuck. Repetitive, forceful exercise can sometimes exacerbate these blockages, like trying to blast a hole through the dam with dynamite, instead of gently, patiently removing the stones one by one. Gentle flow is the patient, wise practice of removing the stones. The movements themselves are characteristically circular, continuous, and exquisitely smooth. You will find no sharp, jarring, or abrupt motions here. Think of the way seaweed sways with the gentle pull and push of the ocean current, or the way a cloud drifts effortlessly across an endless sky. This is the intrinsic quality we are seeking to emulate in our own bodies. For instance, a simple and beautiful practice might involve standing with your feet shoulder-width apart, your knees softly bent, and slowly, with great intention and full awareness, tracing large, weightless circles in the air with your hands and arms. As you do this, you are not just moving your arms. You are feeling the movement originate from your body's center, your core. You are consciously coordinating the motion with the gentle rhythm of your breath. You are bringing your full, undivided, and loving attention to the cascade of sensations unfolding within your body. This is the very essence of ancient time-tested practices like Qigong and Tai Chi. But you do not need to learn complex forms or memorize long, intimidating sequences to begin receiving the profound benefits. The core principles are elegantly simple and accessible to everyone. First, the mind leads the movement. This is a crucial distinction. Before you even begin to move your hand, you have the clear intention to move it. You guide its path with your awareness, as if you are painting on the air. You feel the texture of the space around it. This simple act of conscious intention is profoundly powerful. It reestablishes and strengthens the vital neural connection between mind and body that is so often frayed and forgotten in the hustle of our daily lives. The body is no longer a separate, foreign object that the mind inhabits and commands. They become intimate partners, engaged in a graceful, silent dance. Second, the breath is the anchor and the rhythm section of this dance. As you inhale, perhaps your arms feel light and effortlessly float up. As you exhale, they gently and softly float back down. The breath sets the pace of the practice, and by its very nature, it ensures the movement is never rushed. By consciously slowing down the breath, you automatically slow down the movement. This has a direct and almost immediate effect on your nervous system. It is a powerful signal to the body that it is safe, that it can release its protective armor of tension, that it can relax. It shifts you out of the fight or flight, sympathetic mode of stress, and into the rest and restore parasympathetic mode of deep healing. This is the physiological state where true regeneration and repair happen at a cellular level. In our high-stress, fast-paced world, this is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity for long-term health and well-being. Let us return to the health of our joints. The slow, circular, and spiraling movements of gentle flow are like a form of potent internal lubrication. They gently stimulate the synovial membranes to encourage the production and circulation of synovial fluid, the very substance that cushions our joints and allows them to move with a smooth, gliding action. Unlike the relentless pounding of walking on hard surfaces, which can compress and wear down cartilage over time, these movements nourish and hydrate it. They gently pull and stretch the ligaments, tendons, and fascia around the joint, which increases flexibility and expands the range of motion without imposing any harmful impact. You are working with your body's brilliant natural design, not against it. You are consciously preserving your precious structure for the long and beautiful journey ahead. The concept of Qi or life force energy is central to this practice, and you do not need to believe in anything mystical to understand its essence. Think of Qi as the subtle, vital energy that animates your entire body. It is the feeling of warmth that spreads through you, the sensation of tingling in your hands, the undeniable feeling of aliveness itself. When you are healthy and vibrant, your qi is abundant and flowing smoothly. When you are sick, tired, or stressed, your qi is stagnant, blocked, or depleted. The primary purpose of gentle flow is to consciously sense and guide this energy through the body. As you move your hands, you might imagine you are gathering a warm, radiant ball of light. As you turn your waist, you might feel a gentle spiral of energy moving up your spine. These visualizations are not mere fantasy. They are powerful tools to direct your focus and enhance the tangible, energetic effect of the movements. This practice fundamentally redefines our understanding of strength. Conventional Western exercise often focuses almost exclusively on the strength of the major muscle groups, the hard power of forceful contraction. Gentle flow cultivates a different and arguably more useful kind of power, a soft, resilient, pliable, and adaptable strength. It is the strength of bamboo, which can bend almost to the ground in a fierce storm without breaking, while the mighty oak shatters. It is the strength of water, which is soft and yielding, yet can wear away the hardest rock over time. This inner strength, this quality of rootedness combined with flexibility, is far more valuable as we age than the brute force required to lift a heavy weight. It translates directly into better balance, which is crucial for preventing falls. It creates a more graceful, confident, and upright posture. Most importantly, it cultivates an inner capacity to meet life's inevitable challenges with calm, adaptability, and ease. You can begin this transformative practice in the most simple and unassuming way. Stand for just 5 minutes each morning. Close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths to arrive in your body. Then, just begin to move, very slowly. Let your arms float as if they are in water. Let your body sway gently from side to side. There is no right or wrong way to do this. The only instruction is to be present, to feel, and to move with a sense of kindness and deep curiosity towards yourself. You are not trying to achieve a goal or perfect a technique. You are simply and beautifully exploring the vast inner landscape of your own body. You are consciously replacing the mindless miles with mindful, nourishing moments. This is the first pillar of true vitality, to move in a way that unites, nourishes, and energizes your entire being from the inside out. Inner stillness. We have explored the profound art of nourishing movement. Now, we turn to its essential and powerful counterpart, a practice that may seem, at first glance, to be the very antithesis of what we commonly associate with health and vitality. This is the practice of cultivating inner stillness. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages to do more, be more, achieve more, and move more, the simple idea of intentionally doing nothing can feel radical, unproductive, even counterintuitive. Yet, it is precisely within this intentional quietude that we discover a source of power, resilience, and clarity that is the very bedrock upon which all true and lasting strength is built. When we speak of stillness, it is crucial to understand that we are not speaking of emptiness or mere inactivity. This is not about collapsing on the sofa, in a state of exhaustion, passively absorbing the flickering light of a screen. That is a state of distraction, of mental and emotional numbness. True stillness is a state of active, engaged presence. It is a practice of being fully awake, fully aware, and fully alive in a body that is not in physical motion. It is a conscious and deliberate choice to withdraw from the endless noise and stimulation of the external world and to turn our precious attention inward. This is the second great pillar of vitality, a pillar that the practice of walking, with its constant forward momentum, completely overlooks and cannot provide. There are many ancient and proven gateways to this transformative practice. One of the most direct and powerful is seated meditation. This does not need to be complicated or shrouded in mystery. You simply find a comfortable, upright posture that you can maintain for a short while, either on a cushion on the floor or sitting in a straight-backed chair with your feet flat on the ground. You allow your eyes to close gently, and then you bring your full and gentle attention to the physical sensation of your own breath. You feel the cool air enter your nostrils, feel the gentle expansion of your chest and belly, and then feel the soft release as the air leaves your body. You do not try to change or control the breath in any way. You simply observe it as a kind and curious witness to the miracle of your own life. Inevitably, the mind will wander. This is its fundamental nature. It will jump from thoughts to plans, from memories to worries, from sensations to daydreams. This is the famous monkey mind that the ancient sages spoke of so eloquently. The practice of meditation is not to fight with this monkey mind or to try and force it to be quiet. This struggle only creates more inner tension and frustration. The practice is to simply notice, with a quality of profound gentleness and without any self-judgment, that the mind has wandered away, and then, like a kind shepherd patiently guiding a lost sheep back to the flock, you gently and lovingly guide your attention back to the anchor of the breath, again and again and again. Each time you perform this simple act of returning, you are performing a repetition for the muscle of your attention. You are strengthening your innate ability to choose where you place your focus, the most valuable skill one can possess. Another profound practice for cultivating this quality is that of standing stillness, known in traditions like Qigong as Zhanzhuang, which translates to standing like a tree. You stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent as if sitting on a high stool, and you imagine you are gently hugging a large ancient tree. Your arms are held in a soft circle in front of your body, your shoulders are relaxed and dropped, your spine is long and upright, and you just stand. At first, for a minute or two, it may feel easy, but soon after, the body will begin to speak to you in a language you may not be used to hearing. You will feel small tremors and vibrations. You will become acutely aware of areas of hidden tension. Your mind, impatient and restless, will begin to tell you to stop, that this is pointless, that you have better things to do. This is where the real, transformative work begins. In that moment of challenge, you learn to breathe into the discomfort, not away from it. You learn to consciously relax the muscles that are needlessly tense and contracted. You learn to observe and quiet the complaining voice of the mind. By holding this posture, you are cultivating a deep structural and integrated strength. You are patiently teaching your bones, your tendons, and your ligaments to bear your weight in a more aligned, intelligent, and efficient way. More importantly, you are cultivating an immense inner resilience. You are learning, in a very real and embodied way, to remain calm, centered, and serene in the face of a challenge. This is a form of strength that no amount of walking or lifting weights can ever give you. It is the quiet, unshakable strength of the mountain, unmovable, powerful, and serene. The physiological benefits of these stillness practices are vast and have been well documented by modern science. When you enter a state of deep meditative calm, your nervous system makes a crucial shift from the sympathetic fight or flight state to the parasympathetic rest and digest state. In this healing mode, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure naturally drops, and the production of chronic stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline decreases significantly. Your immune system functions more effectively. The brain itself begins to physically change, a remarkable process known as neuroplasticity. The areas of the brain associated with focus, emotional regulation, empathy, and compassion grow stronger and more connected. You are quite literally rewiring your own brain for greater peace, clarity, and well-being. This is the most powerful antidote we have to the epidemic of chronic stress that plagues our modern world and dramatically accelerates the aging process. We are constantly being pulled out of ourselves, our attention fragmented and scattered by notifications, news headlines, and the endless demands of daily life. Stillness is the radical act of coming home to yourself. It is a portable sanctuary that you can access at any time, in any place, no matter what chaos is unfolding in the world around you. It is in this inner quiet that you can finally hear the subtle, wise whispers of your own body. It is in this inner space that emotional turmoil can settle, like sediment in a glass of water, leaving you with the precious gifts of clarity and peace. Without this solid foundation of inner stillness, our movement, no matter how graceful or mindful, lacks a true root. We are like a magnificent tree with beautiful branches that sway elegantly in the breeze, but with shallow, weak roots that cannot hold it firm in a powerful storm. The gentle flow practice helps us to move and circulate our energy, but the stillness practice helps us to gather, consolidate, and store it. It builds our deep inner reservoir of vitality so that we are not so easily depleted by the inevitable challenges and storms of life. For someone over the age of 70, this inner resilience is perhaps the single most important quality to cultivate. It is what allows us to navigate physical ailments, emotional losses, and the profound uncertainties of the future with a sense of grace, perspective, and equanimity. Begin simply without pressure or expectation. Dedicate just 5 minutes each day to intentional stillness. Find a quiet corner where you won't be disturbed. Set a gentle timer. Sit or stand in your chosen posture and just be. Do not strive for a special, mystical experience. Do not judge yourself for having a busy, distracted mind. Simply show up for yourself. The consistent, humble act of showing up is the practice. You are planting a tiny seed. With consistent daily watering, this seed of stillness will grow into a mighty, unshakable tree within you, a source of shade, shelter, and a profound, quiet strength. This is the second and equally vital path to a timeless self, your true balance. We have now explored two distinct yet complementary paths, the path of gentle flow and the path of inner stillness. One is characterized by soft, mindful, continuous movement. The other by a profound, rooted, and observant quietness. On the surface, they may appear to be opposites, a dichotomy of action and inaction. One is yang, the ancient principle of action, light, expression, and doing. The other is yin, the principle of receptivity, darkness, introspection, and being. The final and most crucial insight of our journey together is this. The secret to profound vitality and truly graceful aging lies not in choosing one over the other, but in cultivating the beautiful dynamic harmony between them. This is the ultimate path, the path of true balance. Life itself is a magnificent and continuous dance between the forces of yin and yang. The activity of the day gives way to the restorative quiet of the night. The tide comes in and the tide goes out. We breathe in an act of taking in and effort, and we must breathe out an act of letting go and release. Health in this paradigm is not a static state to be achieved, but a dynamic equilibrium that must be constantly tended to. When one of these fundamental forces becomes excessive or deficient for a prolonged period, imbalance arises, and this imbalance is the very root of what we call dis-ease. Our modern lives, with their relentless emphasis on productivity, speed, and constant stimulation, are often pathologically young. We are always doing, always striving, always moving, always digitally connected. We have forgotten, and in doing so, devalued the essential power of yin, the restorative healing power of rest, receptivity, and stillness. The conventional practice of walking, as it is commonly done, is a purely yang activity. It is action, often without the crucial balancing element of mindful presence or restorative intent. By consciously choosing to replace some of that mindless, yang-dominant walking with our two new practices, we begin to restore this essential life-sustaining balance. The gentle flow, while it is certainly movement, yang, possesses a very strong yin quality. It is slow, it is mindful, it is internally focused, it is receptive. The practice of stillness, in its essence, is purely yin. It is the anchor, the root, the quiet center from which all sustainable action can arise. Together, they form a complete and perfectly holistic system for cultivating, conserving, and circulating our precious life energy. Think of the beautiful and powerful analogy of a great tree. The inner stillness that we cultivate through our seated meditation or standing practice is the vast and intricate root system. It sinks deep into the dark, quiet earth, mostly unseen, yet it provides all of the stability, all of the nourishment, and all of the resilience for the entire organism. A tree with weak, shallow roots cannot possibly withstand a storm, no matter how thick and strong its trunk may be. Our inner calm, our emotional resilience, our ability to stay centered amidst the chaos of life, This is our root system. This is what we build in the quiet, humble moments of doing nothing. The gentle flow, then, is the trunk, the branches, and the leaves of this great tree. They are visible, they are expressive, they move and dance with the sun and the wind. This is the graceful expression of our vitality in the world. The slow, spiraling movements of Qigong or Tai Chi allow the nourishment drawn up from the roots, the Qi, the water, the life force, to circulate unimpeded up the trunk and out to the tip of every single leaf. This constant, gentle flow keeps the tree flexible, vibrant, and radiantly alive. If the branches become stiff and brittle, they will snap in the wind. If the flow of sap is blocked, the leaves will wither and die. Now you can see with perfect clarity why relying on walking alone is such an incomplete strategy. It is like trying to grow strong branches and lush leaves without ever tending to the health and depth of the roots. It is an external activity that does not necessarily build our deep internal foundation. The true balance of our two practices creates a powerful and beautiful synergy. The stillness we cultivate makes our movement more mindful, potent, and energetically charged. The movement we practice prevents our stillness from ever becoming stagnant, dull, or lifeless. Each practice enriches and deepens the other in a virtuous cycle. The quiet mind you cultivate in meditation allows you to be more profoundly present and sensitive in your flowing movements. The heightened sensitivity to energy you develop in Qigong allows you to feel the subtle, vital currents of life even when you are sitting in absolute stillness. This balanced practice inevitably becomes a way of life, a guiding philosophy that extends far beyond the time you spend on your mat or cushion. You learn to bring the quality of gentle flow into how you wash the dishes, how you work in the garden, how you interact with your loved ones. You begin to move through your world with less tension, with more grace, and with a quiet efficiency. And you learn to carry the profound quality of inner stillness with you. Throughout your day, you can find moments of quiet, rooted presence while waiting in a line at the store, while drinking a simple cup of tea, while listening deeply to a friend. You are no longer so easily thrown off balance by life's small or large disturbances. You have a quiet center, an inner sanctuary to which you can always return for refuge and renewal. This approach fundamentally redefines our relationship with the process of aging. The dominant cultural narrative frames aging as a process of inevitable decline, a continuous and depressing loss of ability. This balanced practice offers a radically different and more empowering perspective. It sees aging as a process of refinement, of moving from the gross, external, muscular strength of youth to a more subtle, profound internal power. You may no longer be able to run a marathon, but you can cultivate a level of inner peace, wisdom, and resilience that is infinitely more valuable. You may lose some brute muscular force, but you gain a deep and intuitive understanding of your own energy and how to conserve, cultivate, and direct it. You are trading a loud, external, and often brittle power for a quiet, unshakable, and deeply resilient internal one. This path does not promise to reverse the clock of aging. It promises something far more profound and achievable, to allow you to inhabit the aging process with wisdom, dignity, and a vibrant, flowing vitality. You are not fighting your body. You are finally entering into a deeper, more loving, and more cooperative partnership with it. You are listening to its changing needs, which are different now than they were at 20 or 30 or 50. You are responding with practices that deeply nourish rather than deplete. You are treating your body not as a machine to be driven into the ground, but as a sacred temple to be honored and cared for. The living harmony of graceful movement and deep stillness is the eternal keeper of this temple. It is a profound shift from a life of constant doing to one of integrated being, from striving to allowing, from external noise to internal silence. It is in this delicate, ever-adjusting balance that we find what we are all truly seeking, not just a longer life, but a deeper and more meaningful one. A life where the body, mind, and spirit are no longer seen as separate entities to be managed and wrangled, but as a unified, indivisible whole, moving and resting in a perfect, harmonious rhythm with the great dance of life itself. This is the true art of living, and it is an art that can be cultivated, refined, and perfected at any age. Aging is not a process of losing ability, but of refining your energy. By replacing mindless miles with mindful moments, you don't just preserve the body, you cultivate the spirit. True vitality is not found in exertion, but in the profound harmony of graceful movement and deep stillness. This is your path to a timeless self. What is one small, mindful practice you could introduce into your daily routine to cultivate more inner stillness? Share your intention below.